Sir John Everett Millais' Ophelia is the most popular pre-Raphaelite work from history. A part of the original Henry Tate gift in 1894, the image depicts Ophelia's tragic death from Shakespeare's play Hamlet. The work is also the best known and favoured illustration of Ophelia falling into the stream. Hi, my name is Taya and I'm here to teach you a little bit about art history. Today I'll tell you the story of Sir John Everett Millais' Ophelia, how she was made, her inspiration, her symbolism, and much more. Let's get straight into it. The Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood was a group of English painters, poets, and art critics founded by William Holman Hunt, Sir John Everett Millais, Dante Gabriel Rossetti, William Michael Rossetti, James Collinson, Frederick George Stevens, and Thomas Wolners in 1848. This 7-member brotherhood was only a loose association, and their principles were shared among other artists at the time. Later followers included John William Waterhouse, Edward Burne-Jones, and William Morris. The principles of the group involved returning to the abundant detail, colours, and compositions of Quattrocento Italian art, a rejection of the mechanistic approach they believed was developed by Mannerist artists, and the belief that Raphael's classical poses and elegant compositions corrupted the academic teaching of art. Ophelia was painted by Millais between 1851 and 1852 in 2 locations. The landscape was completed by the Hogsmill River at Well in Surrey. Ophelia herself was painted inside his studio in London. At this time in history, it was typical for artists to create preparatory sketches outside, then take them to their studio as a reference for a larger painting. Though some periods of art history utilised painting outside, this was an aspect that set pre-Raphaelite artists apart from their contemporaries. They completed most of their paintings outside. It may sound odd, but the artist actually spent more time painting nature than he did the figure. Traditionally, the landscape is less important, but Millais and his brotherhood believed the landscape should be of equal importance to the figure, so he painted it first. A 19-year-old girl named Elizabeth Siddell modelled for Ophelia. The girl was discovered by Walter Deverell, a friend of Millais, and would later marry another of his friends, Dante Gabriel Rossetti. To paint Ophelia drowning, Elizabeth was painted in a bath full of water that was kept warm by oil lamps below. On occasion, Millais would be so engrossed that he did not notice the lamps going out, and over time Elizabeth got very ill. Elizabeth's father paid for a private doctor and ordered that Millais paid for the 50 medical bills. Thankfully, Elizabeth recovered quickly. Oddly, Millais only completed a few preparatory sketches for the work. An oil study titled Head of Ophelia with Wreath was created in 1852, but we don't know where its current whereabouts are. As you heard in the introduction, Ophelia was a character in Shakespeare's Hamlet. The character was driven mad when her father was murdered by her lover, Hamlet. Suffering severely from grief and madness, she dies very young. You don't actually see the scene painted by Millais. It is only referred to in a conversation between Queen Gertrude and Ophelia's brother. The Queen notes the young girl fell into the river while picking flowers, singing the whole time she drowned. There are 2 reasons any individual flower could have been placed by Millais. Some were mentioned in the play, and some were symbolic. On top of this, due to Millais painting the work over several months, there are flowers and plants that bloom at different times of the year next to each other. One thing I personally adore about this work is how obsessive the artist is with his details. In fact, each flower in the image was individually painted from a real flower, and he made sure to include the dead leaves and broken flowers. John, Millais' son, wrote that the flowers were so realistic it was used by a botany professor as an educator of nature for students, as he was unable to actually take them into the countryside. Although photography was invented 12 years before this work was made, it would have been more detailed and realistic than any photograph at the time. Photographs were not nearly as clear as they are today. Ophelia is housed at the Tate Museum in London, and the conservators have meticulously studied the work using a variety of techniques that help them, and us, understand how Millais actually painted the work. For those who don't know much about art or art history, you may not know that the back of the painting can hold a lot of information. The back layer was removed in 1967 when it was lined, and during this time it was recorded and preserved. From this, we can see Millais bought the canvas from Charles Robison, as the trademark stamp is there. This stencil also assists in dating the piece, as researchers trace Charles Robison's archives to find out how much the canvas was bought for and when it was purchased. You can also see where the work has travelled throughout history. When a painting is loaned out to other galleries or museums, a stamp is placed on the back. Ophelia was first exhibited publicly in 1852 at the Royal Academy in London, and it was not universally acclaimed. One critic noted that there must be something strangely perverse in an imagination which sources Ophelia and robs the drowning struggle of the love-lorn maiden of all pathos and beauty. Another writes that Mr. Millais' Ophelia in her pool makes us think of a dairy maid in a frolic. An avid supporter of Millais, art critic John Ruskin found the painting exquisite. However, he expressed doubts about the setting, stating, "Why the mischief should you not paint pure nature, and not that rascally wire-fenced garden-rolled nursery maid's paradise?" Thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this.